you are Scion, as empires came to prominence, the old nobility waned, their gleaming mountain castles, built atop mines and vast caverns, fell into disrepair, their children marrying industrialists and petrol barons to stay afloat. Eventually, the government appropriated the buried keeps as hidden factories for the war effort. When the end came, these shelters were occupied only by minor nobles, their staff, and a wealth of machines. You learned to fly the underground tunnels in a brand new aircraft. So, Scion, unlike other playbooks which have some degree of money problems, Scions instead have wealth as their superpower. Playing Scion is basically just you using money like a hammer. While you see almost every single problem as nails to be hammered in, it's fiction, that's totally fine. In fact, you are so rich, you could technically bankroll a flying circus on your own, but beware, while how a Scion uses their power is up to them, having power almost inevitably drives a lust that wants for more. The theme of Scion is about privilege and power, along with the obligation that comes with it. It's also about how meeting those obligations aren't enough, as possessing unjust power over others is fundamentally an abuse. While a Scion could solve every single problem a circus could face by throwing money around, those monies almost always come not from the Scion, but from the people they rule over, and steal from. When playing as a Scion, you could play as a sneering noble that ruthlessly bribe, conquer, and steal for what they think is theirs, or a royalty that set out to do what they think is the best for their people and provide for them, or you could just roleplay as fucking Batman, wealthy, underground cave, expensive aircraft. If that doesn't describe the Bat, I don't know what else it does. Ultimately, whatever you choose, you will expose the inherent flaw of nobility, that people's lives end up depending on the family drama of a bunch of rich jackasses. Moving on to the mechanic, Scion also has one thing other playbooks will not have, an estate, to be exact, a town including its people and the industry you rule over, which starts with 1 wealth, and every routine, you roll 2d10 plus wealth to see if it increases, decreases, or just not move at all. So don't worry, it's not like in Monopoly where you can go from millionaire to bankrupt in a single turn. You can piss off people just as easily though. At any time, you can tap the resources of the estate, reducing its wealth to gain 10 thaler. On the other hand, to increase its wealth personally, you have to visit your estate in person and throw 15 thaler towards it, or whatever equivalent goods and maybe a job too. See where this is going. It's easier to take from your estate than it is to pay for your estate to improve them. This is completely intentional, and if the wealth gets too low, your estate revolts, or worse, they might consider unionizing. Also, if you taught other classes your moves, they will be using your estate's wealth stat, unless they acquire their own estate, somehow. Now, before moving on to the moves, I have one small thing to point out. Each playbook has a different set of triggers which gives them stress you need to convert into experience. The triggers also serve to incentivize the player to roleplay their character in a certain manner that somewhat matches that of their chosen playbook, and the Scion's triggers are probably the best example in the book. When you look at a Scion's triggers, you can see that they absolutely do not give a shit about their fellow pilots and only care about themselves. This might also mean that it could be a bit harder for them to get stress to get experience, but look here, they get stress if they were disobeyed by others, and more if thing works out. This mean that if you really want more stress for whatever reasons as a Scion, you should act like a rich asshole that order people around and have everyone else tell you to fuck off. This is the best way a game mechanic could incentivize me to act like a rich jerkwad. Heck, you don't even need to be rude about it. You could totally play as a nice Scion who just politely suggests to people what they think is best for them, but even unintentionally, a Scion will always subconsciously think that they are above others, and that will affect their mindset and action. Anyway, let's move on to the move, starting with the Scion's core move, the finer things. Basically, if you don't spend an additional thaler on personal upkeep, which is originally just 1, you take 2 stress, but the second time you burn out, you cross this move out. Obviously, a Scion is more used to living in a mansion, while having their servants to serve their every need, but pilots need to carry light, and often go to rough places a Scion will take a while to get used to. A Scion's intimacy move is entrusted, in which when you hold those you care for close, figure out among your partners who takes charge. If it's you add +1 to a stat for the next routine. If it's one of them, clear 2 stress immediately. Basically, everything about Scion is power dynamic, and they will always think that nobody is equal to them, one way or another, so there's always something going on with their relationships. Also, if you do this in air, everyone involved get both +1 to a stat and clear 2 stress, but you should still figure out who takes charge. And now we are at the personal moves. Like most other playbooks, the Scion will have 3 of the following personal moves at the start. Don't you know who I am? Wow, we are getting the good shit already. When you use your title and reputation to get what you want, you can role press the issue plus your personal company value. At the start, you won't be getting much out of this move, as your company hasn't made a name for themselves yet. Once you get better at flying with a few aces in the company, you can start crushing people with just your reputation alone. Gold standard, when you take from your estate, you can take 15 instead of just 10, self-explanatory, you just get more when you take from your estate. I'm too good for this. When you miss a move, any move, you can make it into a full success by reducing your estate wealth by 1. That's right, you can just throw money at literally any problem. Does it have to make sense? Probably not, but whatever it is, the solution is something the Scion spent a lot of money on, with the peasants picking up the bill in the background. Family ties, when you land in a new town, roll flat, on a hit, you have a family connection to the ruler or somebody important here. On 16+, they actually like you. This is a move that brings in a lot of role-playing opportunities for the Scion, whether that this family member might give a mission that could be rather personal to the Scion, or that there might be a brewing conflict between the Scion and the local ruler. Glorious history, the power of your family name adds +1 to your personal company value, but this move can only be learned by other characters if they are an ace already. Basically, this move adds more to your company value, and combine that with Don't You Know Who I Am, this can be used to give you more revenue by giving you better negotiation power, again, playing into the theme of Scion. Old tales, when you tell a story of your family history, true or not, hold 1. When you follow or defy the lesson of the story, spend a hold for advantage. The long lineage of nobility would mean there's going to be a lot of stories, whether they are true or bent to unrecognizable form through generations of blatant manipulations. Telling these stories over drinks is a good way to do this, but you cannot repeat the same tale twice, and you can only hold 1. Entitled, when you call on your home to furnish you with something, roll get stuff plus estate wealth, whatever it is, you either pay for it, or reduce estate wealth by 2 to take it for free. This something will have to be shipped from your estate to your current location. It will take a while for a letter or telegram to get there, but you can trust it to follow you wherever you go. And finally, annexation, when you incorporate a new town into your estate, add +2 wealth, if they join willingly, add +4. Whatever incorporate means, the general idea is that this town now contributes to the economy of your estate. This isn't something people will idly agree to, and it's more than a simple trade agreement. You outright take over the town. This doesn't mean it has to be a violent conquest. You might be able to get the people or the leadership to agree in exchange for something, but obviously, if you don't pay up, shit will go down. People of Himmelgard highly value their sovereignty, especially after the massive shitstorm that's the Great War between the empires, so whether by negotiation or force, you will need to do a lot of work to make this happen. Now, let's move on to the plane, and I just want you to know that even if you didn't pick any of these beautiful Scion planes, you can pick a new plane worth up to 45 thaler. 45 fucking thaler, that's how rich the Scions are compared to other classes, and all the starting planes they have are just full on powerhouses. This includes a new Markgraf Attentator C, a gun carrier with, almost impossibly, too many fucking guns, a new Königskinder L.1, an extremely expensive high-power scout with excellent safety features, a new von Morgan Vampire, a beast of a machine capable of fighting in any way possible, and a new Hugo's Einzigartiger Stahljagdbomber, a practically invincible fighter bomber that can afford to be sluggish because good luck shooting this thing down. And there you have it, Scion, the children of the powerful that inherited power and wealth beyond the grasp of most people. If you want to play a class that can brute force their way in through any circumstances with the power of money, you should pick Scion. Anyway, that's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.